All right. And peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, please like and subscribe. And tonight for Ask the Herbalist Hour, we are talking about self-love and we are talking about healing once again. And on Monday's show in the Healing Cipher, we declared that February was going to be self-love month because there's been a lot of issues around um, people suffering from a lot of different imbalances and mental distress. And we felt like February is so much emphasis in the month of February put on Valentine's Day and finding a sweetheart and finding someone else. So we said, well, let's focus on cultivating the ultimate love with ourselves. And so we declared February to be self-love month. And in addition to that, there is a lot of discussion and on the topic of mental health. And so we're linking the two together, how to focus on our mental health in terms of cultivating self-love. And so tonight's guest is we're going to discuss this a little bit further. And I want you all to help me bring on and welcome our beloved sister Sudan Muhammad. And I'm going to give you a moment to introduce yourself. Welcome, sister. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. My sister, how are you doing?
I am well. I am well. I'm so happy to see you.
It's an honor to be here, and I really
Good,
appreciate you
thanks.
inviting me here tonight.
And someone in our chat has said greetings to you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Like, all right, thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you well, good, we go back many years, but tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what you do in the community.
Well, in all humility, I want to say, giving all praise to Allah. We give praise to Allah for coming to us in the divine person of Master Farad Muhammad, the one to whom all holy praises are due forever and ever and ever. And we thank Allah for raising up one in our midst, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that last messenger and exalted Christ. And we thank Allah for leaving us not comfortless with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I have to say that because I'm so grateful. But my name is Sister Sudan Muhammad. I am a mother, a wife, of course, a follower of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad through Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I'm just inspired. It inspired me to I'm gonna say the study guides inspired me, self-improvement, the basis for community development, to go out into the community and to serve those who are in need. So a few years ago, we started by my daughter Indigo. She's a
Hmm.
harpist, piano teacher. Well, she plays the piano, but it was a lot of I'm gonna say crime in our community. Not so
Hmm.
many services that's offered to us in our community as far as music, and um, a lot of services are not offered in our community. So what we did was we started volunteering our services at the Hillcrest Library in Temple Hills, and
Okay.
offering piano services, teaching out the youth how to play the piano for free of charge. What we didn't know was just offering that service. Oh my goodness. The line of youth and adults was so long that we had to teach. My daughter had to teach in 15-minute intervals.
Hmm.
Then from there, we started offering harp services because the harp is a very unique instrument. Lessons
It
are
is.
very expensive. We were paying at one point $1 a minute, which is for an hour was $60 an hour. So we would take
Mhm.
that instrument, we would go into the community again, free of charge, free services, which led to many other things. And teaching our youth how to do hair. I'm a hairstylist by trade. I
Mhm.
noticed that a lot of the girls in our community didn't feel good about themselves because their hair was a mess.
Yes.
And these hair salons, I mean, for a hair weave is very expensive. or braids
Mhm.
or just hair care, period. So what we started doing was free of charge, teaching our youth how to do hair, how to care for their
Mhm.
own hair care, not just
Yes.
putting weaves and braids in hair, but hair care, how to care for your hair. Again, free of charge, which led to other
Mhm.
services. I love to cook. I enjoy
Mhm.
cooking. So me and my children started out with making sure that we would go to different shelters and different places and prepare meals for the people. We were preparing for my home, because you've been with us when we did it, and we would bring them to the
Yes.
shelters to give people a really good meal because it seems like sometimes because somebody's homeless, we would just give them anything. Poor
Mhm.
health is important. You don't give people just anything. If you don't, if
Exactly.
you give them basically what you would eat. Now, if you eat garbage, I understand, but
Right.
I don't eat that. So we just believed in the caring for our people. And also, we would go in the community when we served. We would also, while they were having dinner, we would play the harp for them because my daughters are harpists and
Mhm.
they would play in these big venues for big names. I wanted to always bring that back to my people.
Yes.
And for 3 years, my daughters was blessed by the divine grace and mercy of Allah to play the harp in the ER at Children's Hospital for about 3 years. So that's a little humble introduction of what we like to do, just giving
Mhm.
back to the community.
Yes. Give thanks. Yes, because I've known you for many years, and I do know you're quite a Renaissance woman. You know, this sister does a little bit of everything, and including raising her family. And one of the things that you're most known for in the DMV community is your selfless service to the homeless population and that vulnerable population. You've done a lot of care and a lot of giving to them. Can you tell us how you got started doing that?
Okay, I believe it was 1998 when we first moved down here from Philadelphia. We was
Mhm.
over at C. Pleasant under brother Minister Sean Muhammad, and
Mhm.
sister. It was Sister Brenda who introduced them to the food bank and Brother Charles. So we would order our food from the food bank, and it was very inexpensive. Like you would get maybe six half gallons of juice for like $3. So I didn't eat all that food. Maybe we needed one or two for our household. So what we started doing was when we would buy in bulk, I would, after we purchased the food, my husband and I would knock on the doors asking our neighbors if they needed any food.
Mhm.
I want to go back and say something I heard Brother Ishmael say, which is important. He said, you can't have community without communication. So you're
That's right.
communicating with the people, finding out what's needed in the community, and now we're going door to door like Master Farad Muhammad started, going to the
Mhm.
people, asking them, what do you need? So that some of the people will say, oh my goodness, I do need this, but I don't have any money. And I would say I didn't ask you for any money. I just wanted to know, do you need these things? So then we started finding out what was people started opening up to us personally, telling us things that was going on. Well, from
Mhm.
starting in my community, uh, self improvement, the basis for community development, starting in the community, we went from within our community to the broader community. And I remember the first time my husband and I went somewhere in DC and we saw a park filled with homeless people, women with
Mhm.
children in
Mm.
that park. It was a rat infested park. I could not believe that. I got to one point where I told one lady I was willing to take her child until she got herself on her feet.
Mhm.
And sidebar with that, I just remember it even starting in my community where some of the mothers had studied me and they would leave their children with me. And one lady shared with me, and I did share the story that she said, I'm going to the store, Sudan, and I'll be right back. She came back 7 months later to get her daughter. I had that young lady for 7 months.
Mm.
I never turned her in. I've had so many children, sister, that they've left with me. I've raised more than the six children I had. And I pray to Allah that I didn't leave the original question that you asked me. I apologize if I did.
No, it's no problem. It's all good. So,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, the question was, but you did answer how you got involved with working with the vulnerable homeless population, because that's what you're mostly, well, as far as I know, mostly known for. I know you, the family that plays instruments and they perform in different places as well too. But that's one of the things that you're known for is this light of mercy in the community by feeding and bringing resources to the homeless population. And tonight we were discussing the subject of mental health and how mental health has a great impact on a lot of us. And for a long time, mental health was not discussed. It was something that was considered shameful and embarrassing. And there's many different manifestations of um, mental health issues. And so by the work that you do working in the community, you see a lot of people that are struggling with mental health issues. So I wanted to ask you, what is the impact of the mental health issues that you see in the work that you do with people?
Well, I want to say this because sometimes you have to talk to people to see where they are and meet
Mm-hmm,
people where they are. And
mm-hmm,
while I'm serving, I try to connect with people,
mm-hmm,
ask them, how did you get to this point? And, different ways of saying, how did you get to this point? Finding out that a lot of us are stuck because of something, some type of trauma that happened to them when they were children.
mm.
They were,
Childhood trauma is a very, very serious issue.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Sister, I'm going to say this to you. Do you know how many black women I know that are homeless? You talk about mental illness now, who
Mm-hmm,
are being raped, who
mm,
are being who are being beaten, raped, abused, and because of what somebody said to them as a child, that has a hold on them. And they made an agreement with the universe like, I deserve to be beaten. Or I
mm,
deserve to be. And a lot of women feel like that
mm,
because they were traumatized as a child where they told their mother or they told somebody in a family and they were ignored, dismissed. This your uncle. Don't tell anybody. Keep this to yourself. So a lot of us, I'm telling you from what I've learned from women and men, a lot
mm.
of us are stuck
Yes.
and we just need some help. And sometimes I'll use what I know and I have to use Dianetics to ask them, okay, well, how did that make you feel? Go over that again. And I'm really straight wiring people, talking to them, just to try
Mm.
to bring them up. Sometimes telling people, it's not your fault. That
Yes.
helps. But like again, we're talking about mental health, and a lot of us are in a state, especially now, of depression. Way before COVID hit,
Yes.
deep, deep depression. There was one young lady I was talking to, and she had just gotten raped, and
Mm-hmm.
she was telling me, she said, I just got raped a couple of days ago under the bridge. And I ran after I got away from the guy and told the guy, I saw a police officer and I told him I just got raped and that's the guy that just raped me. And the officer told her, ew, nobody will rape you. Do you know what
Mm.
that does to someone?
I mean,
Do
it's
you
damaging to their self worth and damaging, making them feel like they have no value and no.
Yes,
Mm,
yes. And then some of the people, if I've noticed that going into the shelter, the people who are in authority over them
mm-hmm.
have they need help and they have this suppressive personality where these people are out here and they're not really getting the proper help they need. I'm not talking about totally medicating somebody. I know some people do need medication.
Yes.
That's not what I'm saying. But they are in an environment that's so suppressive, um, dirty. unclean, but just the way they are talked to.
Yes.
No love, no, they are totally invalidated. You, they are treated like they don't matter. So what I
Yes.
did one time was I went and bought these journals. Some of us collectively, because it's a collective effort, we bought journals, and I started teaching women and some men, young and old, get a journal, start writing out. Right? We went into I am saying I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm
Mhm.
enough. Journaling how you feel, how that empowers you. So along with the mail, just letting opening up, talking to people.
Yes.
Because some of us, I've noticed some of the mentally ill people, they're out there talking to themselves. So they're talking to themselves because
Yes.
nobody's talking to them. No one
Mhm.
is listening to them. So I just wanted to share that.
Yes, I agree with you. A lot of people are struggling with, when you see a person that's struggling with some kind of mental health issues, whether it's depression or schizophrenia or addiction or whatever it is, they didn't just get like that overnight. Something happened. And, I
Yeah.
recently heard someone say to me, you shouldn't ask a person what's wrong with you, but ask them what happened to you. Because when you say what's
Yes.
wrong with you, that makes them feel defensive, as if you're suggesting
Yes.
there's something wrong. But if you ask what happened to you, that's a better
Yes.
way to get them to open up and speak to you. And many of us are struggling with issues that started in childhood, from childhood trauma, either
Yes.
things we experienced or we witnessed. Also, neglect has a big impact on how you feel about yourself and your mental health as well. So I agree with you on that. And then also, I've noticed, the way people feel about the homeless population. Many people feel like they're homeless because it's something that they did wrong, they're irresponsible, they're not capable of providing for themselves. And that's not always true, because many of us that work every day are just one paycheck away from being homeless, because when the pandemic happened and a lot of people got laid off or lost their jobs, that increased the suicide rate. They say is going up now because so many people out of work. Many people are on unemployment and have been on it since 2020. Some people. Um,
Yeah.
it's more issues coming out now, and I think, like you said, it did exist before the pandemic, but I think now is just exacerbated with all the change that's taking place. And these issues have been around for a long time, but when you're not getting the treatment, and then when you have more stressors put on you, not being able to
Mhm.
provide, not being able to work and pay your bills and make ends meet, it causes and more people are cracking up and are losing it, um,
Yes.
losing their ability to cope and to function. And it's very unfortunate that that young lady went through that, and then she reported it, and then the law enforcement said nobody would, rape you or assault you or whatever. But this shows that there's a lack of compassion for one another in the world in general, and people not validating other people's feelings. And if
Hmm.
you go to law enforcement for safety, and this is how they make you feel, then who do you go to for safety or for protection?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Why do you think mental health is such a neglected issue in our community, I would say?
You think about this. I'm reading this book actually called The Psychological Slave Trauma, and it's several black psychologists that got together and they wrote this book.
Hmm.
When you start talking about mental health, it's dismissed. And when you say you're getting help, people look at you like, oh my gosh, she's crazy. So it's
Hmm.
like you don't even want to share that with people that I see. I go and sit, to say I sit or I see someone or I have a therapist, they look at you like you're insane.
Hmm.
So sometimes people don't even want, a lot of people don't even want to share that.
Yes.
Even mentioning Dianetics auditing, I've had so many debates with people saying that it's a cult. Why are you doing this? It's like you don't even want to share these things. But I
Mhm.
will share with certain people. I'll tell them to find your avenue of help. You don't have to
Yes.
do dianetics, or you don't have to do this. Do yoga, meditate, Reiki, go for a walk, swim, but always be in touch with your feelings and how you're doing. But in our
Mhm.
community, stigma to talk about, to say I need help.
Mhm.
There was a young man, and his mother is a psychologist. He
Mhm.
told his mother, and we're talking about mental health and the stigma, but he told his mother that I want to kill myself. This
Mm.
woman told her son to go to the balcony, go ahead and jump. What you waiting on? Hey, what is going on with us?
Yes.
That's beyond insensitive.
Yes.
So mental health is like it's really, I'm gonna say, taboo in our community. We need it.
Mhm.
I know I talked to someone, and it's okay.
And it is.
So we have
Yes.
to make it okay. It's okay to say you need help. It's okay.
Yes.
That's empowering. I tell people that's an empowering to say, you know what? I need to take a pause. I need to breathe. I need help.
Absolutely.
So I
And
think
you
with
know,
that
there's no
we have. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay, there's no stigma for seeking medical care for things like dental issues or orthopedic issues, or if you need eye care or whatever. But when it comes, or heart health, but when it comes to the mental health and you start talking about it, many people feel like, oh, something's wrong with that. Or by
Yes.
going seeking help, you're admitting that something's wrong with you. And it's not that there's something wrong with you. We've all experienced trauma in our lives. We've all experienced stress at some point in our lives and have felt overwhelmed at times. And stress is not healthy. It is a silent killer. And many of us, when we feel overwhelmed and we feel like we can't cope with certain things, is nothing wrong with getting help somewhere in the form of, it could be pastoral counseling, it could be a psychiatrist, psychologist, it could be, a support group, or whatever it is, like you say, practicing yoga, doing nature therapy, whatever it is that helps you bring balance back to your life and restore balance and peace of mind. That's what the goal, to me, the goal of seeking help is. And it's
Yes.
something that happens to all of us in our lives. At some point in our lives, we may experience some type of crisis situation, and we need guidance, we need support, we need someone to validate our feelings. And it's okay to say that you need a break, that you need to take a mental health day or a mental health week, shoot, maybe even take a whole year off, and it's perfectly all right. And there's no shame in that.
Hmm.
And family members and friends who try to make you feel bad because you say you need help, you really need to evaluate that relationship.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's good too to and I suggest to some people, go around people who make you feel good. Go around people who
Yes.
celebrate you. Go around people who's going to
Exactly.
uplift you. Go around people who are happy. You know,
Mhm.
do what makes you happy for your mental health is important. If you have to take a pause and turn everything off, if you have to disconnect for your mental health, it's okay. You don't have to
Mhm.
apologize. But as I'm healing and it's a process, then those that I'm reaching, I'm humbly trying to say a word to them, to try to, anyone, I made an agreement that anyone that comes into my space that I encounter, I want to be an uplifter
Mhm.
and try to uplift people. That's why I'm always, every time when I go out in my car, I try to bring a gift, because you never know who you're going to help. I just humbly want to share this. So
True.
one day someone was calling me, and I wasn't going to answer my phone because I was on my way out the door, and someone said answer this phone because this person kept calling me. I
Mm-hmm.
took the call. This sister told me that had I not answered that call, the first person that crossed her path that even looked at her wrong, she was going to fight. That's how
Mm.
angry she just needed somebody to talk to, and not talk to, keyword listen. Sometimes just let people talk and just listen.
Yes.
Just let them know you're there. Not look at them and just listen. I'm learning how to be a good listener. That's therapeutic. That's therapy.
Absolutely, yes. And that's what we need. And people need someone to listen to. Like you said, that some of the people talk to themselves because that they need that I guess they're trying to process their thoughts, or there's no
Mhm.
one listening to them. So they talk to themselves.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's also good when someone comes to you, and I'm saying this for the listening audience, when someone comes to you with an issue, even if it's something you don't agree with, just give them that listening ear. And oftentimes, it has happened to me, and I know it has happened to, I've heard other people say this too, when they've expressed to someone that they're in crisis or they're depressed or they're feeling bad, they'll say things to invalidate their feelings. Like you said, a young man told his mother that he felt suicidal, and she said, "What are you waiting for?" Those kind of answers, that's not what the person needs at the time when they
Mhm.
come to you in a state of crisis. You need to listen, be patient, don't judge them, allow them to talk. And then if the situation is really out of hand, encourage them to seek some kind of help.
Mhm.
Yes. But above all, just be compassionate and listen. Um, what now? I know your family also, your daughters play instruments, have, and I know one of them used to go to the hospital to perform for people. How does the instrument, the harp, can you share with us how that helps with people's mental health, help improve mental health rather?
Well, Children's Hospital was doing breakthroughs as far as using music to heal, but you already know that's our instrument because if you go and look at the hieroglyphics
Yes.
in Egypt, they have harpists that will play for the aristocrat society or the rich society while they were eating. So harp
Yes.
hearing it repairs their cells and tissues in the body, just hearing it. So now those that have money, if you're having surgery or if you're having a baby, if you
Mhm.
have the money, people are hiring harpists just to do that. So what I did again was my children would go to the hospitals and one time and play for cancer patients. One man was in he was in intense pain. He was in so much pain he was gritting his teeth, and my daughter was just playing the harp, and you could just see his expression had kind of softened from just hearing her coming into the rooms and playing the harp for him. Um,
Mhm.
Another one, this elder was going to have surgery. She couldn't sleep because she was in her 80s. She broke her hip, and she
Mhm.
thought she was going to pass. So my daughter came and played the harp for her, and it was my neighbor who shared a room with her, and we played for this woman who was about to have heart surgery, but my daughter played for this elder who was about to have her hip replaced. So my
Mhm.
neighbor told me about 3 days after the surgery. I said, "Well, how was that lady's surgery?" She said the lady was fine. She said that lady said that angels came into the room because she was out of it and played the harp for her. Angels came into the room, and the woman said that was the best sleep the woman said that she had. So, um,
Mm.
four of my daughters are harpists. They played, and like I said, just the purpose was to heal. The purpose was to bring the harp into the room to show people that they mattered. It's a list of the healing properties of a harp. But could you imagine you in a room and somebody comes to you to your bedside and just played for you while you just in a bed, and you could just see the look on people's face. Some of the people that we came to, they were so happy. They felt important. they felt like somebody cared for me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I know how it is. I've been in the hospital, when I had children, and I had experienced no one coming to visit, you know, so I know how that feels. And I thank Allah for allowing me to go through certain phases in my life. So He'll take you through things. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to understand how that feels so you can develop empathy. That's why, and I don't mean to jump around, I have empathy for homeless people because I remember being homeless. And I remember sitting there saying to myself, Dang, how come someone won't ask me, do you need anything? Why are people clutching their purse like I'm going to steal? But no one said, well, why is this young woman sitting outside? Do you need anything? And that always bothered me that
Mm-hmm.
people would walk past me and not ask. I just wanted somebody to acknowledge me that I was
Yeah.
there. So I thank Allah again for that, for the experiences in the hospital or being homeless that will make me understand and have a deeper level of understanding and understand what empathy is because
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be an empathetic human being. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
hope I didn't jump around. I'm just full
No,
right
no,
now.
that's
So,
fine. Thank you for sharing. Yes, no, that's fine.
mm,
But it's such a blessing that they provided that service to people in the hospital because music and sound does heal, and especially the
yes,
sound of the harp. Like you said, that's an ancient instrument that goes back thousands of years, and the sound that and the frequency that it produces is healing and is soothing to the soul. We know that music, um, sound and music is also
mm,
um, can provide vibrational healing, can heal the environment around you, and
mm,
probably heal them internally. So I'm sure they felt better
yes,
afterwards. Yes. Did anyone report about have noticing a difference in their condition?
definitely, yes. In the hospitals, in the ER, a lot of the that working in a emergency room really was a lot. That my God, sister, to see so many of our babies having gone getting amputations 4 and 3 years old with diabetes because of
Mm,
poor diets. And
mm-hmm,
I mean, I'm just sidebar with that, but them being there inspired other little children to become interested in the heart, but it also inspired in some of the parents to come and say, you know what, I was upset when I came here, I was feeling down, and hearing the instrument just made me happier. It just changed their vibration. Um,
mm-hmm.
they were pleased. It inspired them. They felt encouraged. So it's a beautiful thing on so many different levels. I
Yes.
mean, it's I could just write a book, but it's a beautiful thing. And then some would say, I have never seen black girl or young black girls play the harp like that. Because at Children's Hospital was Hadia, Sasi, and Berea, and they would switch and take turns and play. And it was always a line because they only played they played on Wednesdays for clinic. There was a clinic, and I think that a lot of people would come in for school to get their shots and stuff. But it we just inspired a lot of people. It was a humbling and a beautiful experience.
I bet that's wonderful, and it's such a beautiful service to offer because in the hospitals, you do feel sometimes people feel lonely, feel alone and scared, and it
Mm,
can be kind
yes,
of a not as so friendly place, especially if you're there alone without loved ones to support you.
mm,
So
yes,
the music therapy is definitely needed there, and you also have played it for the people, like you said, at the shelters too. Let's talk a
mm,
little bit more about the self love, which is something else that's missing and is also linked to our mental health. And you mentioned that you've taught some young girls things like hair care, and as well as other life skills. I know at one time you were teaching some young girls in the community how to cook because no one had taught them. And so
mm,
all of these things have an impact on how we feel about ourselves, the trauma, the childhood trauma. struggles with mental health has an impact on how we feel about ourselves and how we love ourselves. What do you have to say about how to a good solution for that issue?
Well, first, I want to just humbly share a story with you. There was a
Hmm.
one time I was home and I could hear noise. There was a lot of noise outside. So I wanted to know what was going on outside because it just sounds strange to me.
Hmm.
So when I went outside to see what was going on, I noticed that these boys on the outside, and I don't mean to be vulgar or anything, but they had this young girl out there. She was a young lady, and a teenager, maybe 15 years old, and they were all taking turns having sex with this girl. I broke it up because they were outside.
Hmm.
I pulled the girl in the house. I said, I asked her what was going on. Why are you out there like that? Because I needed to know. So I asked her, what is going on? Why are you out here like this? She was talking to me, and she did tell me. She said that they were she was having sex with these boys because they were going to get her hair done. Okay,
Gosh.
I
Mm.
said I'm gonna do your hair. I said not only am I going to do your hair, I'm going to teach you how to do hair. So it gave me an opportunity not to beat up on her because she was already beaten up on. She already
Yes.
had low self esteem. She needed to be inspired, and I had to meet her where she was. I said, well, first, let me tell you this. I'm going to do your hair, and don't you ever let me catch you out there like that again. I said,
Mhm.
anytime you need your hair done, I'll get the hair. And if you don't have money for because she wanted hair extensions in her hair because her hair was short. I said, if you don't have the money for the hair, don't worry about it. I'll buy your hair. I'll care for your hair. So I had an opportunity to bring her in to teach her and to help her and to take up under my wing.
Mhm.
That was, and I seen that there was a need out there. So when
Mhm.
and later on, I wound up seeing her mother. Her mother was well kept. Her hair was done. Her makeup was nice. She had designer clothes on and a designer bag. But your daughter looks like that. That's
Mm.
another story I don't want to get into. But
Yes.
a lot of the younger people will go to school and they will see, first of all, the television. You see how materialistic our society is, but everybody wants to look pretty and feels good.
Yes.
That's natural.
Yes.
So they competing with the television, and then their peers are looking a certain way. Me inviting young women in and doing their hair, I found out so much. Sister, when you start talking to people, they tell you stuff you don't even know. I mean, you may not even be ready to
Yes.
hear. Opening up to doing hair led me into learn more about human trafficking. That's another story. That's another show. Okay.
Yes.
And how they
Yes.
use our own women to scout other women to get them in to do things. I mean, it's just a whole track. So I'm
Mhm.
learning, teaching these girls just through doing hair and teaching them how to care for themselves. Now their hair look pretty. So after that, I had to teach these girls who were active how to keep their bodies clean, how to
Yes.
take care of their body. After
Yes.
that, I started to introduce them to certain books about telling them to read. Find books. Who do you like? What do you like to read? Finding out what they like to read first. Not telling them what I like. It doesn't matter what I like. Who do you like? What do you
Mhm.
like to read? Why do you want to read? Well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to do such and such. I want to do hair. Well, then you're going to have to study Madam C.J. Walker. See, I'm getting them
Mhm.
to read. That's care to open them up. So the hair opened up a whole world, sister. That
Yes.
it opened up a whole world. Wow. I hope I
Yeah.
didn't jump around.
No,
Sorry.
that's good because when you do someone's hair, that's a form of to me, hair, a hairstyle is you're more than just someone that's styling hair because you actually um caring for their hair, which is a form of love, and then you're showing them, like you said, how to care for their own hair too. So it's reciprocal. So in that situation, it's like a bonding experience, and so people will open up to you and talk to you
Mm,
about things that they may not talk to other people because that bonding that you have through the hair care. But what was a blessing from this story is you saw that this young lady had such low self-esteem and such self-worth that she was willing to trade something precious just for some money for
Mhm.
a basic necessity, which is hair care. And this neglect that a lot of us face, and the lack of proper care, does lower your self-esteem and your self-worth
Mhm.
and your feelings
Mhm.
of it creates like a poor and a negative self-concept in a lot of people.
Yes.
And this in the long run, this is will lead to other issues, like what, who knows what would have happened to that young lady if you hadn't found her.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm. Very
Our community, we need help,
yeah.
and we need to help each other in a way that we don't come off self righteous or judgmental, because
Yes.
you're going to get a pushback on that, and I always try to communicate, especially with our young people. I love them in such a way where I've learned from my daughters what to do and what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn that. But with other, especially with our youth, again, we talk about mental health. You really
Mm-hmm.
have to meet people where they are. Some people are so destroyed. We're talking again about mental health. They're so low vibrationally. They're close to death. They're ready to die.
Yes.
And this one young person I was talking to was so depressed. The only thing that kept this person up was that young woman talking about how she liked to smoke weed. And I talked to her. We had a conversation about weed,
Mm-hmm.
which made me, and I couldn't beat her. Oh, you shouldn't be doing this. No, I couldn't do that. She was already dead.
Mm.
When I said dead, she was numb already. There was no life in her. She was so suppressed and held down. So now she's talking about weed with me, and I'm listening, and I never put her down. I said, I used to smoke when I was younger, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just to let her know I am you. You are my mirror. And then I was able to get to the point where I could say, you're my younger self. And what would I say to my younger self? And then it's like, well, what would you say to your younger self? I'm talking to her. So now she's easing up on that. And I'm saying that because in our community, 8 young people died because somebody's putting fentanyl in the weed.
Yes. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard that some young people died from just smoking marijuana, but they didn't know it was laced with more
Yes,
harmful substances.
yes. So they killing them. But they need our girls are this time in our life in 2022 is so crucial for our children
Mm-hmm.
that we need to, the most
Mm-hmm.
important thing is to be able to listen to someone, to know that you care, I care, and just
Yes.
let them speak. Don't cut them off, just let them speak, and let
Yes.
them feel free to speak. And when they open up to you, and once they open, they are open
Yes.
for you to, they want to hear suggestions. Then now they're saying, well, what do you think I should do? Okay, that's where I want to
Yes.
get you at. I need you there.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. And a lot of people say to young folks, well, not just young folks, but when they see people doing wrong, and they'll say, well, I know their parents, or they know better, or their parents taught them better than that. But you can't assume that when you see people engaged in bad activities or bad behavior, you can't assume that they were taught better, because some of them weren't. And some of them don't know better. What's common sense to us may not be common sense to other people. And so you see people engaged in, dangerous activities, whether it's drugs or prostitution, or whatever it is, other self-destructive things. You can't, you don't know what has happened to them or what series of events have taken place that got them to that place. And like I said, common sense is not common to everyone. Everyone doesn't know basic survival skills, basic life skills. No one may have taken the time to teach them that. They may not have seen that example. And so they're basically just out here trying to find their way, stumbling in darkness. And,
Mhm.
without one of us trying, to offer some help or to offer just some inspiration, just take the time to listen to people. And like you said, or to offer some help. Many people don't have that in their lives.
Mhm.
Yes, someone in the chat said rites of passage is man. Yes, we do need rites of passage,
Mhm.
and originally, the way our ancestors did it, the people in the community, the elders would have performed that rite of passage, and unfortunately, it takes a village to raise a child and to raise a
Mhm.
person, but our village is sick, as we are discussing
Yes.
tonight. And we have to find a healthy solution to how we can support one another and how we can have this rites of passage for all of us to help us with growing and developing and being our best selves and to be healed, especially, yes, for both genders, male and female.
Definitely.
Hmm. Yes. And let me see. Next question. I think we covered the next question is what are some things you can do to help yourself and to help one another if you are going through a mental health crisis? And one thing you can do if you feel, find someone like you said that's in your life that uplifts you and that inspires you and makes you feel good about yourself. If you don't have someone in your life like that, then you may have to be that person for yourself. And
Mhm.
make sure that you know what your stressors are. If you know certain things trigger you, then those are areas that need healing and that need growth. And don't
Mhm.
put yourself in situations where you'll feel vulnerable to these triggers.
Mhm.
Those are some of the things that I do to maintain my mental health. Like when I know I'm feeling overwhelmed or stressed, I know certain things I can't, that are too much for me or that make me uncomfortable. So I know I have to only have it in small doses. And one of the
Mhm.
things that I do to maintain my frame of mind and my state of peace is daily prayer and
Mhm.
meditation. Those are two things that have
Mhm.
helped me in some of my darkest times when I was going through things and I didn't have anyone to talk to, or I felt that, when I did try to talk to people, they kind of pushed me away or
Mhm.
rejected what I was saying, or they made me feel worse. Um, or just didn't take it seriously. So when I was at those moments, I would just pray because I didn't have anybody else to talk to. Sometimes I would just cry and pray to God, pray to Allah for help. And I started meditating more along with my prayers. And I really felt a big change and a difference in my life because sometimes it just has to be just you and God,
Mhm.
and being still and your prayers and your meditation, your spiritual practice help you to keep the right focus and the what's the word I'm looking for? It helps give you a sense of direction and grounding to help you with solving some of your problems or many of your problems actually.
That's right.
Yeah. And somebody said, yes, fentanyl is really killing folks. They need to be heard. Nobody's listening. Yes, yes, they do need to be heard. And if someone comes to you and they are telling you that they're having some issues, just listen to them. Listen to them and help them to find some resources in the community or some mental health centers to see what resources are out there that they can find for help.
Mhm.
Sister Sudan, you have any suggestions on coping with a mental health crisis?
Well, sister, we're in a big crisis now because COVID-19 is one of the biggest experiments that they ever did,
Hmm.
beyond the injections, but just the shutdown. We're social beings, so
Yes.
you have to. stand 6 feet away, no large gatherings. People can't handle it. So what I suggested to some of the people who asked me, well, what do you do to keep your vibration up so you won't go crazy? What do you do? I said, "Wait, I found what I like. I like to cook.
Mm-hmm.
I like to serve people. Grandmom said the best way to cheer yourself up is to cheer up somebody else. So
True.
I found what I like to do. And I will suggest people, well, this is what I like to do. But what do you like to do? And you'll
Mm-hmm.
be surprised when you start making people open up to conversate. And they start saying, well, you know what? I like to draw. Oh, let me suggest. Well, are you drawing? Or how's your artwork? What are you doing? Well, I don't have the money to get it. Okay. Well, let me treat you to five and below.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take you there and I'll give you I may only have $30. I'll give you $30. Go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
buy all the artwork you like. So being open to helping people, finding out what they like, you don't know what this person is going to do. You don't know that
Yes.
one person touch that you open up. That one person may be responsible and may touch 1 million people because of what you did. So
Mm.
I ask people again, what do you like to do? Sometimes with some of the young people, you'll be surprised, and I don't like, everyone in my car, they say, can we just go for a ride? I just want to
Mm-hmm.
put my earphones on and just ride. And I have driven people just from one end of Branch Avenue all the way to Charles County and back. Just so if they just want to sit and be and just ride. So
Mm-hmm.
when you start opening up people to finding out what is it that you like to do, now a lot of young people, because I like to cook, they're starting to bake and cook. Well, I'm saying, well, why don't you create a YouTube channel? Or,
That's a good
this
idea.
is, yes.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think too, in this depression and this darkness, out of chaos comes order, the crackle theory. People are
Yes.
becoming creative. I'm
Yes.
seeing creative geniuses
Mm-hmm.
out of this. I'm seeing creation. And I always tell my young people when I talk to them, anyone I come across, I said, you are a part of the creation, but you're supposed to be a creator as well.
Yes.
So create. You are your own masterpiece. You're your greatest masterpiece. You are the canvas. What do you want to do? It's about you. How do you feel? Well, one lady says she likes to dance. Well, go dance. Turn on some music and dance. Ride your roller skates or get on a bike or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I'm just at a point in my life now when you start talking to people, sometimes find out what they like to do. And if they ask you for a suggestion, then that's fine. But don't force your will on other people. You'll get too much pushback with that. You
Mm-hmm.
will. But I hope I didn't
No, you did
again.
great. That's
Yeah.
excellent. That's
Yeah, okay.
perfect. Yeah, especially the creative expression of creation
Mm,
um, is a great way to to combat mental health issues, being expressive in whether it's artwork or music or dance or cooking
mm,
or doing hair, making jewelry, whatever it is that you find fun, that brings you
mm,
happiness and peace and joy,
mm,
express more of that. And when you're making things and creating things, that gives you a sense of pride when you look at the
mm.
finished product, and
Yes.
that will help you feel more confident in yourself, confident in your skills, feel
Mm,
just a sense of accomplishment. All of that
yeah,
helps with boosting your self-esteem, your self-value, your self-worth, and will help you with mental health issues. Because a lot of times when some people feel themselves about to on the verge of a crisis, they'll start making something. They'll start painting, they'll start writing music, they'll start doing something, and that creativity is so helpful to your spirit.
yes, definitely.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Well, thank you, Sister Sudan, for sharing
Mm,
and for being a guest on Ask the Herbalist Hour. We definitely gonna have you on the show someday. the radio show that is. Is there any closing words you'd like to share, or how people can contact you if they want to support the work that you do with the homeless people in the community?
If they want to, they can contact me via Facebook, Sudan Muhammad, Instagram, or Twitter, and
Mhm.
I invite your support. We need it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for sharing your wealth of information, and for the outpouring of love and compassion and mercy that you give people in the community. I always thank you for that. And
Thank you.
someone mentioned in the chat that it seems hard to meditate. I have live meditations monthly during the new moon on my Instagram page, which is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. If you still find it hard, you can send me an email. And painters, I think we all are fledgling painters. I'm no Picasso yet, but I do like to paint and dabble with a little painting and expressive art. So just reach out to me. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this evening and for your support and your questions. And remember that if you are feeling alone or feeling suicidal thoughts, there are hotlines that you can call. And if not, you can contact someone that will, listen to you and take the matter seriously. If someone comes to you and tells you they're having these feelings, they're having these thoughts, please take it seriously. Say something encouraging to them. Don't brush it off as just them, talking or seeking attention, because this is not the way people seek attention. Take it seriously. Be compassionate. Make sure you say something to them to make them feel better and to take them out of that low place, because you may be that one person that
Hmm.
listens to them. And you may be that one person that can share that light at the end of the tunnel that they need. So we thank you. Thank you, Sister Sudan, again. Thank you, people and family in the chat room. And I hope that we all learn something very valuable for this. And we have to be a family and a community and support one another through times like this and other times that we may come up in our lives, that may come up in our lives of difficulty, and that you're not alone. So thank you so much, and everyone have a blessed evening.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings, everyone.